Yo, what is up YouTube? I'm Blitz5, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking about Xbox versus PlayStation, which in the video game world is the age-old debate between these two consoles because they're the biggest players in the market. And what this really comes down to is the companies behind it, in my opinion, which is Microsoft versus Sony. And I'll probably be using that interchangeably, so Xbox versus Sony or PS4 versus Microsoft. It's kind of the same thing, even though those companies are way bigger. You know, what we're talking about now pertains to video games. So that's what we're going to be focusing on. And I truly do believe that Xbox has a big advantage in this console, even though they've kind of been struggling during launch. And what brings this up is kind of E3 2016. It's a really hot topic right now. It's always been discussed, but especially right now with E3 going on, it's extremely big in the market. Everyone's talking about it. It's the latest news in gaming, and everybody's covering it, including me now with this video. But I'd like to share my opinion. I hope you guys find it valuable because I think I have some good insight on this because not only have I been a gamer for a long time and I follow E3 coverage and I've owned PlayStations and Xbox, I also work in finance and work in this sector in the technology and media and telecom sector at work, which they call TMT sector. And so I have some experience with that. And I'm also an investor in Sony. I don't have a PS4, which is kind of ironic, but it's mostly just because I don't have the time to play both consoles and most of my friends are on Xbox. But I'm actually physically invested with my own money in Sony. And I'm a big fan of Xbox at the same time. I'm just a big fan of technology overall and the video game world. But I do have to admit that my opinions on Sony and the video game environment are changing, and I'd like to express what I think about Xbox. So I have the Xbox going on in the background. We'll kind of switch to Sony to make it fair. We're going to have both systems going back and forth. But where I think Xbox has a huge advantage despite the past is that they are backed by Microsoft and are such a bigger company than Sony that they basically have, like, theoretically unlimited money to spend to do what they want to if they're full on board with Xbox. And we're kind of seeing that with the announcement of Xbox Project Scorpio, that they've kind of come out swinging and said, like, okay, do gamers want a really strong console? Then we have the money to do whatever we want and we can make the strongest console possible. The only issue is the market for consoles. People don't want to spend a ton of money like they do with PCs. Some people buy $2,000 or $3,000 PCs with the best graphics cards and processors, but the console market is different because people aren't going to spend that much money. So I think Xbox kind of got caught in, how much money do we spend? But if you look back to Xbox 360, Microsoft was willing to lose money on every Xbox sold just to beat out market share to Sony. And I think Xbox kind of got a little lazy and they fumbled, and they also took this new media approach where they wanted everything to kind of be integrated with the Kinect and Windows 10. But now that that had a negative response, I think they're ready to kind of come back in and do what it takes to overcome the market and win back all of those gamers. So this also comes into play with Sony because if you haven't realized, Sony has actually outbid Microsoft on a lot of things for video game exclusives. They outbid, like, Call of Duty on the first console to get DLC. When you see a Call of Duty commercial, it ends with, like, Sony or PlayStation 4. And that's all stuff that these video game consoles and the companies behind them bid on to kind of market towards the game and the gamers. And then obviously tournaments are held now in Call of Duty, which is interesting, and that's like the first time that's happened before. But when it comes down to who can spend more for all of these exclusives and stuff like that, if Xbox wants to at any given time, they can devote the money to that. And it's really what it comes down to is, does Xbox want to do that? And for a while it was debatable. What they are doing is, there was actually talk that Xbox was going to split from Microsoft, and a lot of times big companies do this because Xbox's profits, or even losses for that matter, kind of get hidden within Microsoft. So for a while there was talk with Bill Gates and the new CEO, like, are they going to split out this company? But now it seems like they decided not to do that because they're integrating everything with Windows 10. And now it seems like they're full pedal to the metal on the gas with Xbox. And I think a lot of things are going to be changing the next couple of years, especially with this new Xbox. But I think that they're fully invested in that, and they kind of want to make it more universal between Windows and Xbox, and they won't mind spending the extra cash again to do this. And in reality, Xbox has, like I was saying before, like, unlimited cash compared to Sony. Microsoft as a company, I have the Yahoo Finance pages up here, is 10 times bigger than Sony. So we look at it right here, Microsoft, this is the Yahoo Finance page, this is on June 15, 2016. You value a company by their market capitalization, and that's how much the stock is out in the market. And basically the company right now is worth $390 billion when Sony is worth $35 billion. Microsoft just purchased LinkedIn for $26.2 billion. So basically, they purchased a company that's 2/3 the size of Sony just last week. And that kind of shows you the different size that we're dealing with here and how Microsoft can kind of do what they want as they please. They're the big gorilla in the room, and Sony has really catered to gamers, but the size is just completely different. The capabilities of these two companies is completely different. So I'm not saying that, obviously Xbox is just a small portion of Microsoft. We all know that. And it's kind of the same thing with PlayStation. But if Xbox decides to make a decision, they can really come and swing and completely change the market. And without repeating myself, I just kind of expect that to happen, and I kind of foresee that happening now. And to me, it's kind of hard to compete with a company when they have that kind of cash flow and that kind of capital that they can kind of do as they please. They could make an $1,000 Xbox and sell for $500 just to kind of shit on Sony if they really, really wanted to. And Sony doesn't really have those options because that company is kind of struggling, and that's why I'm probably going to be selling my stock soon. I just invested because I thought that PS4 was doing well and that 4K TVs were going to become popular, and Sony does make really good 4K TVs. And as you can see, Sony is doing okay right now, but the future of them is kind of untold as a company because a lot of their products, without kind of going into some other crazy topics, some of the other products obviously aren't doing that well in the camera market and in TVs. They're not the same company that they used to be. But that's off topic from video games. But basically, I wanted to express my opinion on that. And I think that, it's already showing with Xbox Scorpio, the Project Scorpio, however they want to call it. And I think that when Xbox One was released, they were kind of caught off guard to PS4 and Sony that, they came out strong. And I don't think Xbox was really ready to come out with another console yet. I'm sure they were working on it, but I think they were satisfied with Xbox 360 and really weren't ready for the new console. And they kind of got caught off guard and fumbled a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see in the future. The major takeaway of this video is that at the end of the day, you don't want to pick a fight with Xbox and Microsoft because they're one of the biggest companies and the biggest video game company in the room. So I really wouldn't want to mess with them. And now that things are getting tied to the actual Windows console, they're going to have a lot more incentive to promote gaming because they're going to basically have one big product that they know is huge, especially with console gaming. So they have a lot more reason to kind of work on this now. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think about this topic or anything going on in the news with E3. I'd love to hear it. So as always, thank you for watching. I'm Blitz5 and peace out.